Hey y'all, what's up? Eric Johnson back with y'all again with a quick little live stream video. We talking about that boy Diddy. He done did it now. Diddy done did it. Diddy done been denied bail. Diddy done had baby oil. Diddy done had sex parties, freak offs. Diddy done did a lot of shit. Diddy done had $50 million out here. He was trying to give to the judge. Diddy done did everything within his power to try to get out of jail, but they holding him. I'm getting this information from CNN Entertainment website. Sean Diddy, Puff Daddy, Baby Combs, aka Brother Love, has been denied bail and he will remain in federal detention. The judge ruled after the $50 million offer. I'm just gonna put it at that. What we're covering here: no bail. Sean Diddy Combs was denied bail and taken into custody after pleading not guilty. Hey Q Smooth, how you doing, brother? He was taken into custody. He was taken into custody after pleading not guilty in federal court on charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. Prosecutors argued that the music mogul should not be released, which because he has previously reached out to witnesses and victims, and they making sure that he won't leave the country on some Russell Simmons shit, because they deeming him as a flight risk. They think he's going to take off like a rocket going to, the moon. He's gonna go beyond the moon, the earth, and the stars. So you know how that be. Share the video out too, man. Doing very good. I'm just happy that they got no Diddy. Yeah, that's what's up, Q Smooth. That's what's up, brother. I don't think all these extra charges or these extra allegations from these other people, because you did have some dude in prison. He won a lawsuit against Diddy for $100 million. So we don't know where that's gonna lead to. I think that happened like a couple of days ago because the brother Too Raw for TV was talking about it on his channel. But yeah, we'll have to see where that comes from in the next coming of days, because I haven't got any updates on, the prisoner getting that money from Diddy, because he said he had to pay it in installments, $10 million every month or something, from the dude that won the lawsuit from the diddler. But besides that, let me keep going on with this story. About the indictment, prosecutors allege Combs created and ran a criminal enterprise through his business empire that engaged in crimes including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, allegedly, with the whole Kid Cudi situation. I ain't gonna even talk about that, allegedly, but that had to do with explosives in cars and it being like on some mafioso shit, allegedly. Let me move on from it. Bribery and obstruction of justice. Excuse me. According to the federal indictment, read the full indictment here. I will be reading the federal indictment in a couple of minutes, but I'm gonna just let this play right now. This is the U.S. attorney detailing the freak-offs and alleged organized corporate of Combs organized it. It says that U.S. attorney details freak-offs allegedly organized by Combs. And before I let this video play, let me read the copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, and personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So let this video play for y'all right now.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution. The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. As alleged in the indictment, to carry out this conduct, Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice. Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims at times by their hair. On one occasion in March of 2016, that conduct was captured on video and later reported in the media. Specifically, Combs kicked, dragged, and threw a vase at a victim in a Los Angeles hotel when the victim was attempting to flee. As alleged, these assaults often resulted in injuries to the victims, which took days or weeks to heal. In addition to the violence, the indictment alleges that Combs threatened and coerced victims to get them to participate in the freak-offs. He used the including by giving them drugs, by giving and threatening to take away financial support or housing, by promising them career opportunities, by monitoring their whereabouts, and even by dictating their physical appearance. Because of all of this, the indictment alleges that the victims did not believe they could refuse Combs without risking their security or facing more abuse. The indictment also alleges other acts of violence undertaken by Combs and others, including violence against witnesses to his abuse, kidnapping, and arson. The indictment alleges that on more than one occasion, Combs carried or brandished firearms to intimidate and threaten victims and witnesses. Now, Combs did not do this all on his own. As I mentioned, Combs has been charged with RICO conspiracy. He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. Those individuals allegedly included high-ranking supervisors in the business, personal assistants, security staff, and household staff. The indictment alleges that those individuals facilitated the freak-offs. They booked the hotel rooms and stocked them with the supplies, including drugs, baby oil, personal lubricant, extra linens, and lighting. When the hotel rooms got damaged, they helped clean it up. They arranged for victims and commercial sex workers to travel for the freak-offs, and they delivered large quantities of cash to Combs to pay for the commercial sex workers. The indictment also alleges that they helped Combs cover up his crimes. During the March 2016 incident at the LA hotel that I mentioned earlier, a member of the hotel security staff intervened, and Combs attempted to bribe the staff member with a stack of cash to make sure that what happened was kept quiet. And as the indictment alleges, in late 2023, after public allegations were made about Combs' crimes, he and others pressured witnesses and victims to stay silent, including by making phone calls to witnesses and victims and giving them a false narrative of what they had experienced. And as alleged, Combs used others to help conceal his abuse by monitoring and preventing victims from leaving a location in order to hide their injuries, or by locating and contacting a victim who had attempted to flee. As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether.
Yeah, man, that's y'all boy Diddy out there, man. Getting his diddling on. But yeah, man, this nigga got found with baby oil, AR-15s, lubricant, drugs. That man was naming drugs I never heard of a day in my life. I know what weed is, heroin, cocaine, ecstasy. He ain't say nothing about no Spanish flies, but it wouldn't surprise me that Diddy would have some shit like that. But let me go on with the story a little bit more. And sorry I got the video messed up. I kind of exited out of it earlier. I thought I lost my live stream, but it was still going on. But let me keep going on with the story. Combs' lawyer expresses frustration with prosecutors after the hearing, because we know it didn't go well for him after that $50 million alleged bribe. But besides that, his defense lawyer said that they will argue the same points again Wednesday, which is tomorrow, when a different judge will hear their appeal at 3:30 p.m. at the same New York courthouse. We'll make it as much as we can until we get him out. Combs' lawyer said they will appeal judge's decision to deny the bail. Yeah, they denied his bail because he's a flight risk. He took off last time when the feds raided his houses in Los Angeles I think it was in Los Angeles and Miami, if I'm not mistaken, because they did this shit simultaneously. Then they had his sons apprehended, I think, at the Los Angeles location a couple of months ago, because I think that happened in March or May around that time. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyer said his team is going to appeal the decision to hold the to hold the hip hop artist and the music mogul without bail. Judge Robin Tarofsky ruled on Tuesday that Combs will stay in custody while the case plays out. Combs was charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and the transportation to engage in prostitution. And they're probably going to add RICO charges to his already long rap sheet of his pending charges. Because, you know, if you got family members and staff members and people that's around you in a position that you calling the shots and you the boss, they can connect all this shit together as a criminal enterprise and give every one of y'all RICO charges because you allegedly running a criminal organization, you know, being involved in racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, arson, transportation, and engaging in prostitution. Yeah, so it's looking real bad for your boy Brother Love. Judge denies bails and Combs will stay in custody. I already read that. Judge is back in courtroom after brief recess. Okay, they already said that. Combs' attorney assault video evidence of more than one girlfriend and getting caught not of human trafficking. I already talked about the hotel surveillance video with him beating Cassie in 2016. He tried to bribe a staff member $50,000, and the evidence came out last year after 7 long years of the evidence not being put out there for the mainstream media. But this just goes to show you wherever comes out, wherever's in the dark gonna comes out into the light. Not to say that Diddy was out here doing all that shit though, but it's just too much dirt on this dude in the history of this dude just being a weird ass motherfucker. Not to say that he's up there with, you know, Jeffrey Epstein, but you know, he's like put himself into some quicksand that he can't quickly get out of. So it kind of surprised me that he'll try to like give away $50 million just to get out of jail. Like, I don't know, man. With all these lawsuits and him having to pay people for, these allegations from numerous people, males, females, etc., over the past couple of months, Diddy's cash flow has been definitely running. I wouldn't say dry though, because Diddy is allegedly a multi-billionaire, if I'm not mistaken, though. But besides that, those lawsuits and those settlements can add up, because he gave Cassie an undisclosed amount of money with their situation a couple of months ago. It's evidence of Combs having more than one girlfriend and getting caught. His defense attorney said, "This is the whole situation with him and Cassie, which I already did in a video a while ago." Let me see. Let me get to the other details. Diddy attorney pledges he won't flee and has earned court's trust. True trust is earned and we have earned it, his defense lawyer said. Combs came in New York less than 2 weeks ago believing that an indictment was immediate. His defense lawyer said the rapper came in to surrender because he didn't want anybody to be hurt if he was arrested at his home. We took this investigation absolutely seriously, his defense lawyer said. Let me see. Combs has reached out to witnesses and victims, according to the prosecutor. Federal prosecutors have argued that Sean Diddy, Puff Daddy, Brother Love Combs should not be released on bail because he has reached out to witnesses and victims, and some witnesses said they are scared of him. Witness intimidation, they're going to add that up to the extra charges too if you're reaching out to these victims. Let me see. Richard has accused Combs of sexual battery, sexual harassment, and false imprisonment, among other allegations, in a civil lawsuit filed in New York federal court. Oh yeah, I just talked about this too. I think this the dude that was in prison, if I'm not mistaken. Combs had reached out to some victims, according to Johnson, after Don Richard, a former member of a music group, Combs started, filed her lawsuit. This is a female. September 10th, Combs reached out to another member of the band who publicly denied the allegations. 3 days later, Johnson said Combs called and texted the other women 58 times in 4 days. So that boy Combs was real desperate. Richard has accused Combs of sexual battery, sexual harassment, and false imprisonment, among other allegations, in a civil lawsuit filed in New York federal court. Let me see. He reached out to a different victim after he filed a lawsuit in November. Combs tried to contact that person twice over 3 days. In a recorded call, Combs urged the victim, who was financially dependent on him, to say he wittingly engaged in sex acts, Johnson said. So you want this lady to be out here allegedly not telling the truth? The prosecutor said that the risk of danger is acute if Combs was to be released on bail. Johnson cited other high-profile cases where the defendants were detained, including cases against R. Kelly, Jeffrey Epstein, and Keith Rainey. Let me see. Scroll down a little bit more. All right, let me go to this other page, because I ain't gonna be on too long. I gotta go to a live stream at 6:30. I'm still tripping off all this. I'm still tripping off all this evidence that they found in this nigga's mansion. They found guns, they found drugs. What I'm really tripping off of is these bottles of baby oil. What do I'm trying not to be funny, man, but this whole situation is just ass backwards. This nigga got caught with 1,000 bottles of baby oil. They seized over 1,000 bottles of baby oil during the home raid. Son Diddy, Puff Daddy, Brother Love Combs is accused of coercing female victims to engage in sexual performances called freak-offs. And in a raid on his home, authorities seized various supplies, including over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Now, one bottle of baby oil should be enough. 2 bottles of baby oil is cool, but over 1,000 bottles of baby oil, who you think you is, Terry Crews? Who you think you is, one of these evasive angle porn star bitches out here? Ain't no amount of ass gonna need that amount of baby oil. But I guess with these freakouts that Diddy was allegedly partaking in and just recording and just getting his freak on in at these freak-offs, shout out to my brother LB. He gonna need all the baby oil to oil up, all that ass, all that titties, and all those other woops, allegedly. Sorry about that. Further details are emerging about the charges against son, Puff Daddy, Diddy Baby Combs, aka Brother Love. More hours after he was arrested in New York, a federal indictment was unsealed and obtained by NBC News September 17th, including Combs of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Let me keep reading this story. They're alleging him of being the mogul and being the main contributor in the megamind of these organized freak-offs or elaborate sex performances during which female victims were compelled through threats, threats of force and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual acts with male commercial sex workers per the indictment. Among supplies seized by authorities from Diddy's homes earlier this year were 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Combs is the Combs is also accused in the documents of arranging, directing, masturbating, doing, and often electronically recording the freak offs ill, and of transporting commercial sex workers across the state lines and internationally. So he was going all around the world with his international freak offs. So he's doing an orgy world for real. He TT boy for real. The alleged freak offs per the indictment occurred regularly and often lasted multiple days. Now, you mean to tell me that you had sex workers from all over the world engaging in sexual activities and you recording it and partaking in it over a certain amount of days and involving multiple sex workers, and you actually recording this shit, and you thought this shit wasn't going to come back and bite you in the ass, son, Puffy Diddy Baby Daddy Combs? Now, come on, man. Let me keep going on with the story. Just give me a couple of seconds. Now, during the freak-offs, Combs distributed a variety of controlled substances to the victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. The indictment reads, adding the victims and Combs himself often received IV fluids to recover from the extortion of drug use, the excessive use of drug use. Sometimes, unbeknownst to the victims, Combs kept videos he filmed of victims engaging in sex acts with commercial sex workers ill. Nasty motherfucker. The rapper's associates referred to in the indictment as the Combs Enterprise, including supervisors, security, and household staff, assistants, and other employees, are accused of facilitating freak-offs by booking hotel rooms and stocking them with necessary supplies, cleaning the rooms, arranging travel, giving Combs cash to pay the sex workers, and scheduling the IV fluids. So this nigga was running a well-oiled sex ring full of just drugs, full of just IV fluids, and full of just baby oils and all other things that I do not want to hear, nor do I want to see in my life. In about March 2024, the indictment notes doing searches of Combs' residence in Miami, Florida, in the Los Angeles, California area. Law enforcement seized various freak-off supplies, including narcotics and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. The indictment also details how the 54-year-old alleged conceived his the 54-year-old allegedly coerced his female victims into engaging in the freak-offs, including physical, emotional, and verbal abuse. As the indictment reads, Combs maintained control over his victims through other matters and other things: physical violence, promises of career opportunities, granting and threatening to withhold financial support, and by other conceived means, including excuse me, including tracking their whereabouts, dictating the victim's appearance, monitoring their medical records, controlling their housing, and supplying them with controlled substance. So not only was he the plug on the drugs, he was the plug on the baby oil, he was the plug on the physical, mental, and psychological abuse. He was just the plug on everything. They don't call him Mr. Take that for no damn reason. But let me keep going on with this story because I gotta be off here at 6:30. Let me see. The indictment claims victims also often suffer injuries from Combs during these freak-offs that took days or weeks to heal. According to the documents, there were a number of individuals who witnessed these abuses. However, Combs and members and the associates of the enterprise engaged in acts of violence threats of violence, threats of financial and reputational harm, and verbal abuse against these individuals when Combs' attorney or reputation were threatened. The alleged acts of violence reported involved kidnapping and arson. Combs, who has not yet addressed the latest details in the case against him, arrived in New York September 17th to face charges. His defense attorney, Mark Adrofino, told reports outside of court via the NBC News network. He came to New York, yada, 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 to turn himself in. He's going to plead not guilty. He's going to fight this with all of his energy and all his resources and all of the baby oil that he's had stashed in his own cars. He's going to fight it with all his full might. His confidence of his lawyers that were saying this. After Combs was taken into custody on September 16th, U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said with NBC News that federal agents arrested him then. They arrested him based on a then sealed indictment, which has already been unsealed. Please reserve your judgment until we have all the facts. His defense attorney said September 16th. These are all the acts of an innocent man, allegedly, with nothing to hide, allegedly, and he looks forward to clearing his name in the court, allegedly. For more on the case against Combs, keep on reading. I already talked about the search warrants. We had Homeland Security, HSI, execute search warrants at his mansions in Los Angeles and in Miami. Those are both of his properties. They did that March 25th. Multiple law enforcement sources confirmed to ABC News. Law enforcement sources told NBC News the music mogul was in the Miami area when the search warrants were executed. Sickening allegations have been made against me by individuals looking for a quick payday. He wrote in a December statement posted on Instagram, "Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do any of the awful things that I have been alleged of doing. I will fight for my name, for my family, and for the truth." I already read the shit about his attorney, so I'm going to just move past that. There has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations, he added. Mr. Combs is innocent. This is defense attorney. This is his defense lawyer saying this. He said he will fight to clear his name. Let me see. He was scheduled to travel to the Bahamas after several sources familiar with the matter added that guns were discovered during the search. One source familiar with the matter also told NBC News there were three women and one man were interviewed by prosecutors and investigators from the Southern District of New York about allegations of sex trafficking, sexual assault, the solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms. Purposely, they tying all that to Puff Daddy. On the same day of the search, warrants were executed at Combs Miami and Los Angeles properties. One of his associates, Brendan Paul, was arrested by the Miami-Dade County Police Department on suspicion of drug possession. A law enforcement source familiar with the matter told NBC News. Excuse me. We do not plan on trying the case in the media, Paul's attorney Brian Bieber said in a statement obtained by the outlet. All issues will be dealt with in the court. Let me see. Yeah, he got arrested in New York yesterday, yada, yada, yada. Charged with sex trafficking and racketeering. Okay, so that's all I have to say about this whole situation. Y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about this whole situation with, Puff Daddy, a.k.a. Brother Love, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. Mr. Take That. I'm going to just let God and just let, the law handle this whole situation with Puff Daddy. And, he's going to have to reap what he sowed. The skeletons are coming out of the closet. And you do have a lot of these victims trying to get a cash grab. But, for victims like Cassie and other people who had to deal with his physical abuse, his mental abuse, and other things throughout their relationships with P. Diddy over the course of years, if not decades, I hope they get I hope they get a speedy recovery, and I hope they can heal from this situation with P. Diddy. And, I just feel for his kids because they got to go through this whole shit of their father just being dragged through the mud from some shit that he allegedly did or did not do. So, Besides that, Diddy gonna have to reap what he sowed, and you already got Gene Deal out here talking real crazy about that shit, and 50 Cent out here doing the Birdman hand rub. So we're gonna see him in the next coming of days, probably popping his shit and doing this damn thing, because you know how 50 get, and you're gonna have everybody giving their 2 cents about this situation. But that's all I have to say about P Diddy, Puff Daddy, aka Brother Love, aka Mr. Take That, Take That. I'm still tripping off all this fucking baby oil they found at his locations. And it don't surprise me about the guns, because a crazy nigga like Diddy, you gotta stay prepared to deal with motherfuckers like him who dress up as Pennywise and just dress up like the Joker for Halloween. He liable to have a blinky on him for protection with the extra security. He gotta have the extra hot sauce on him to keep everything spicy out here. But I'm gonna just say this right now: wherever the people who was out here allegedly being the victims of Diddy, they somewhere doing the Birdman hand rub. I know Tupac somewhere in heaven right now giving the Kool-Aid man smile, and he just saying, I ain't mad at you. He's out here doing the Birdman hand rub, and he's out here just smiling from ear to ear like a Siamese cat. But besides that, that's all I have to say. Tell me what y'all think about this situation with P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Combs in the comment section. Share the video out with your family members, loved ones, and tell me what y'all think about Diddy and him getting caught up and him not getting out of jail with no bail. So that's all I have to say. Peace out, y'all.